Okay, everyone, let's finish this up. All right, so we have just taken everything from include registration, saved it as include login, and we have deleted some of the form fields that we don't need, so that now we just have email and password. We have updated the form action to login.php, and we have changed some of the content to say login instead of register. Let me just update some of those things. This is actually include login. Lets people log in to the site. Okay, so what we have here is we have email, and then I'm going to change the form up a bit because we've got password 1. We don't need password 1. I'm actually going to change those to just password. So I'm going to walk through. I removed it from there, and I'm going to remove it from the label and the name, and this if statement has it twice. So there we go. I have removed everything from there. Okay, so let's take a look at our messages. So this should say you are now logged in, but let's take a look at the logic. You are now logged in. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is we're checking to see if they have input an email address and if they have input a password. Okay, and so if there are any problems, they're not necessarily logged in right now because we need to check that their email and password are correct. Now, as mentioned, we are not hooking this up to a database just yet, so we're not actually registering, so there isn't an email and password associated with this. So we're going to just check for a hard-coded password and email address right now. But this is where I said I want you to use a function. So we're gonna walk through this logic and try and figure this out. So if there isn't a problem, we need to call our function. Okay, so we want to make sure that the email and password exist before we call the function. So we're not necessarily going to print this information out yet. So let's take a look at how we call the function. So I'm going to call the function check login, and again, all functions have the parentheses and then the curly braces. So check, oops, sorry, totally wrong here. I'm going to call check login, and I'm going to pass it our email and password, okay, because I want to see if these are actually what we need them to be. So I'm going to go ahead, put in the email and put in the password as parameters. Okay, so I will be sending these to our function called check login. Then I'm going to go back up to the top of the page and I'm going to define my function here. So that syntax looks like function. Make sure you call it the same thing, and then we have our curly brackets, braces, whatever you want to call them. I need to define my variables or parameters that are coming through, and I'm going to call them email and password. And then what exactly do I want to do? This is where I'm going to hard code my email and password that I want them to enter. So I'm going to make an if statement, but I want my if statement to check both the email and the password at the same time. And to do that, we're going to use Boolean logic. Okay, so we're going to use and. So that means if the first part is true and the second part is true, then the entire thing is true. If we were to use or, that would mean either of those could be true, but I want both of them to be true. So I'm going to create my if statement, and it's going to look something like this. So if email equals, I'm going to use two equal signs here. I'm going to put in my hard-coded email address. I'm going to just use user@user.com. So if that happens, I would then do something, but I want to continue with my 2 ampersands. That's my and. Password equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. High security here. Then I know that they are logged in. So in this case, I am going to, I can use echo. I'm going to print out my message. I'll just do this easier. You are now logged in. Okay, so else, I'm going to put an else in here because I also need to give them some information if their email and password did not match. So I'm going to put my else statement in here, and this is where tabbing really comes into good use here, so that you can kind of line up all of your brackets here. See, I didn't have that. So if I've got an open bracket, closed bracket, else, open bracket, closed bracket, and I don't need that one. So I've got my code blocks. The first code block is for the function, so open, close. The second one is for the first if statement, and the third one is for the else statement. So I'm just going to put echo that email address and password were not found. Try again. And let's see if my code works here. All right, so here's my function. Here is, if there weren't any problems, check the login, print a message. Okay, definitely don't want that message because this message is being printed out as part of my function. I'll go ahead and keep the post in here. And there's my else. Please try again. Okay, let's see if it works. Oh, here we go. Fingers crossed. Oh, I have an error. I did not put in my semicolon. All right, try that one more time. And I have some random tag. Looks like right there. All right, let me try that one more time. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and first put in something I know isn't going to work. hey@hey.com. And that email and password were not found. Try again. Okay, so let me see if I don't put anything in. I get please enter your email, please enter password, please try again. And then now I'm going to try user@user.com. I'm going to put in a wrong password. And that is correct. It's not correct. And now I'm going to put in the right combination, and I get you are now logged in. So there we go. That is the whole process. And again, make it look good, make it work, no syntax errors, and hopefully this assignment was a little bit easier than all that looping we did last week. So thank you. Bye.